Welcome to the Platform video tutorial. Today we are going to talk about publishing and how to configure a publish profile using the MPX console. Let's start with a review of publishing and how it fits into the media lifecycle. We know the goal of publishing is to make a set of specific files available to your audience. A look at this diagram shows us that the publish system is responsible for delivering a media's metadata and physical files to a particular destination. Publishing uses publish profiles to ensure the physical files exist, and if not, can create them through encoding. The act of publishing will create a streaming or download public URL that can be delivered to any destination, an iPad, your website, a set-top box, or even Android device. The platform created publish profiles to simplify the publish process. The profile will be created by an administrator, so video editors or producers don't need to worry about all the details involved in creating a profile. Once it's configured, for editors, publishing is as easy as a click of the button. Let's take a look. To initiate a publish using a profile defined in your account is as easy as selecting the media and applying the profile. Once the media has been selected, click the Publish command at the bottom of the console. This will open up a Publish box with your profiles. The Publish system is smart enough to know if you've already published a media to a particular destination and will prevent you from selecting that profile. The default is that all will be selected. Select the profile or profiles you want. We'll send this media to the iPad. And click the Publish to initiate the command. MPX and the Publish system will take care of all the details specified in the profile. Now let's take a step back and look into the details of the Publish profile. In this video, we will focus on creating a Publish profile using the iPad as our destination. The following slides will cover the 2 steps involved in creating a Publish profile. Step 1 is about identifying file targets. The file targets are the physical files needed for the Publish destination, which in this case is the iPad. Here we have a video player formatted for the iPad's dimensions. We can see we have several thumbnails in our player as well as a video region. From this we can determine that the file targets needed for the iPad are 1, a video, which will be an MPEG-4 streaming, and 2, a thumbnail, which is a JPEG of 272 by 204. This would give us the media files needed to correctly display a thumbnail image and to stream video to the iPad. Once we've identified the file targets, we're ready for Step 2. Step 2 is creating the file criteria, or routes, for each of our file targets. We've identified our file targets for the iPad as our video and thumbnail, and now each file target will include a set of instructions or file criteria that tell the Publish system how to select or generate that file target. Each instruction consists of a paired set of source file selection parameters and file processing instructions. For our first file target of MPEG-4 video, our file criteria will consist of selection parameters matching on asset type of mezzanine, which I use to identify my source ingest files, and content type of video. You will want to consider your input media to come up with the relevant selection parameters. We offer a lot of matching options to make this step flexible. In this case, if there is a match in my media on those parameters, then my file processing instructions are to encode the media file using the iPad video encoding profile and move this new media file to the proper storage server. The Publish system will then go to the next file target, in this case, the thumbnail. However, if there was no match, then it's on to the next file criteria. This second set of criteria has selection parameters matching on content type of video and sorting my matches on highest bitrate. This will give me the highest quality video file in my media to use for encoding. If there is a match in my media, then my file processing instructions are to encode the media file using my iPad video encoding profile, and again moving this new media file to the proper server. The Publish system would then go to the next file target. However, if there was no match, and that was my last criteria, then it would check to see if the file target is optional. If the Publish system is unable to select or generate a required file target, the entire Publish operation will fail. This is a good reminder that you want to keep the profiles flexible enough to handle the possible variations in your input media. Think of the profiles as an if-then-else statement. Once one of the conditions in the criteria matches and is successful, it's on to the next file target. Now we're ready to configure a profile in the MPX console. We'll navigate to the Publishing view and select Publish Profiles. The profiles in this account show content being packaged for different players, devices, websites, streaming, etc. Compressing a complex scenario into a single profile isn't always the best option. Let's walk through creating a Publish profile for the iPad. We'll add the new profile and click Save. We know the first step in creating a profile is to make a list of the file targets needed for that destination. To do this, we'll click on the File Targets blade and name our first file target MPEG-4 Video. For each video file target in your profile, you will want to specify a delivery method, streaming, or download, which is found in the advanced settings. You will also have the option of adding a restriction or ad policy managed in your account to the streaming URL, if that is appropriate. We'll click Save and add the next file target and name it Thumbnail. We don't make public URLs from images, so we can skip that option. Once we've identified the file targets, we can move to the next step, creating the file criteria. We need to tell MPX and the publish system how to select or generate each one of these file targets. Let's start with the MPEG-4 video and add the criteria by clicking the File Criteria blade. Now we can specify our criteria, which will consist of the paired file selection and file processing instructions. You'll base your instructions on the type of media ingested into your account. This will help you come up with the selection parameters and know if you will need to transcode files as part of the processing. Based on the media files ingested into my account, I know I will have to generate my iPad video file through encoding. The first instruction will be to look for a mezzanine file or a source file I can use for transcoding. To accomplish this, my file selection will be to match on asset type of mezzanine paired with content type of video. The selection parameters allow you to select source video using a variety of matching options. Other selection parameters include encoding profiles, file formats, if the file is the default content or thumbnail, bitrate ranges, and height and width ranges, with an option at the bottom for handling multiple matches. You can even select the best match based on something like highest bitrate. Again, you'll want to think about the selection parameters in terms of your input media. Once you have your selection parameters, then it's time to specify the file processing. If there is a match in my media on a mezzanine video file, then my processing instructions are to encode the file using the iPad video encoding profile, which is already defined in my account, moving this new media file to the proper storage server, and then as a best practice, I'm going to apply an asset type on the media file for easy identification later. I'll select to overwrite this asset type so it doesn't retain the asset type from the file used for transcoding. I'll click Save when I'm done, and I can see my first file criteria. Let's move on to number 2. For the second criteria, I'm going to look for any video file in my media and sort on highest bitrate. My file selection parameters on this instruction are to match on content type of video, and in case of multiple matches, sort and pick the first match, sorting on bitrate. This will give me the highest quality video file in my media. My file processing is much the same as the previous step. When there is a match, I will choose to encode the file, use the iPad video encoding profile, move this new media to the appropriate server, apply my asset type, and click Save. Now we can see I have 2 sets of file criteria for my file target of MPEG-4 video. I've also made this flexible enough that I can apply this to any media in my account. The dashboard view gives me a snapshot of how I'm selecting media from my account and how I will process the media in order to generate the MPEG-4 video. We're ready for the next file target. Let's navigate back to our file target section and click Thumbnail. Then we'll navigate to the File Criteria blade, and we can begin to add the file criteria for this JPEG image file. For the first criteria, we'll look for a mezzanine image file or source image file to use for encoding. The selection parameters I will use to find that source file are to match on asset type of mezzanine paired with the content type of image. For matching, I will only allow one. The file processing is to encode the file using the iPad thumbnail encoding profile defined in my account, move this new image file to the storage server, and for best practice, apply my asset type of iPad thumbnail. For the second step, I'm going to look for the largest image file in my media that I can use for transcoding. My selection parameters to find this file are to match on content type of image, and in case of multiple matches, sort on size to give me the biggest. My file processing will be to encode the file, using my iPad thumbnail encoding profile, move this new media file to the proper storage server, and apply my asset type. For the third criteria, I'm going to capture an image from my source or mezzanine video file. To accomplish this, I will select media in my account matching on asset type of mezzanine and content type of video, only allowing one match. With a successful match, the processing will be to again encode the file using my iPad thumbnail encoding profile, move this new file to my storage server, and apply my asset type. For my final criteria, a catch-all, I want to capture an image from the highest bitrate video file in my media. My file selection parameters for this scenario are to match on content type of video, and in case of multiple matches, sort on bitrate so I get the highest quality video. Once I select this video file, then I'm going to encode the file using my iPad thumbnail encoding profile. Move this file to my storage server and apply my asset type. Now I have my file criteria complete for the second file target of thumbnail. Remember to keep your criteria flexible so you can apply it to all media and successfully publish your content. Once we've completed the file criteria for each file target, then our profile is ready to use. To initiate a publish using this profile or any published profile defined in your account is as easy as applying the profile to your media. MPX and the publish system will take care of all the details specified in the profile. In the case of the iPad profile, this would include creating a streaming URL for the MPEG-4 video file and a thumbnail JPEG image. This concludes the video on publishing and published profiles. Thank you for watching.